everyone. My name is Joan Beverly. I'm a chief steward at Longfields Manor, Rivera. I'm also executive board member representing our geographic region 8, Algonquin. And I'm also excited to be here tonight to keep you up to date, listen to your concerns, answer any question you have. I'm also having some great giveaways throughout the next hour. So make sure to stay online and stay engaged for your chance to win. I want to start tonight's meeting with a virtual Zoom meeting on our anti-harassment policy. We'll not tolerate hateful messages from attendees that are racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, or ableist, nor any language that is discriminatory or violent in its intent. As such, we reserve the right to expel any attendees from our event that contribute to this type of behavior. Thank you in advance for following this policy. We will begin this meeting that we're meeting on Aboriginal land that's been inhabited by Indigenous people from the beginning. As settlers, we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generation of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Long before today, as we gathered here, there have been Aboriginal people who have been the stewards of this place, in particular the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contribution of the Métis, the Inuit, and other Indigenous people have made, both in shaping and strengthening this community in particular, and our province and country as a whole. And as settlers, this recognition of the contribution and historic importance of Indigenous people must also be clearly and overly connected to our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of the truth and reconciliation real in our communities, and in particular to bring justice for murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls across our country. For those who don't know me, I want to welcome you to our third regional meeting, and I'm glad you're able to make it. I sit on the education committee. I want to tell you a short story about working together. Our manager just put a memo stating that we do our annual education, but because of COVID, we can't do it online.
Joan, we've lost you. You're muted. Joan, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear
there
me?
we go. You're back. Yep, there we go. We lost you for a second.
Okay, so I want to talk about working together. So the situation arose that my manager put a memo stating that she's not going to pay us 4 hours of our annual training. She's only going to pay 3. So the staff and I got together, put a group grievance in, and the group grievance, I give it to her and she tossed it back at me and said, why you put a grievance in? You didn't talk to me about it. And I said to her, you didn't talk to us about it. And it's in our collective agreement that you need to inform us. And so you didn't. We exercise our only right. So she said, okay, give her time to get back because this is head office doing it. I told her, no, it's not head office, it's you. So this was Wednesday. So she said, I'll let you know by Thursday. So I asked her what time it was, what time she would. And she told me, okay, Thursday at 4 or 5. But she sent me an email at 5 and said she was sorry, she reconsidered, and she's going to pay the 4 hours. So if you guys don't take anything away from tonight, take this. You can go up against management and you can win. And it doesn't matter if you're a DSW, a PSW, or RPN, or a dietary aide, together is the key. I'm having a little problem with my internet here. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Joan.
I My screen is frozen. Okay. So throughout tonight's meeting, if you have any question, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer any of your question at the end of the meeting. Make sure to make sure we know who's asking the question, just rename your Zoom and you can click on the three little dots that's at the top of your picture and name it. Feel free to also include your workplace or and the position that you work so we know a little bit about you. As healthcare workers, I know how stressful the last 18 months have been. So to start our formal agenda, I'm going to pass things over to SUI Healthcare, our union representative, Tina Darcy, who's going to walk us through a mental health wellness icebreaker to get us started. Tina, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Joan, and thank you to Region 8. It's really nice. I see a bunch of faces that I'm quite familiar with and really awesome that I'm seeing a couple of new faces. So as part of the union's ongoing commitment to supporting members' mental health, I was invited tonight to talk a little bit about some community resources that members could explore. I'm just going to share my screen here when you have an opportunity after the meeting. So can everyone see the screen here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. So one of the resources we want to talk a little bit about tonight that maybe you're not familiar in your community is mental health walk-in counseling. And this is a concept that it's relatively new. It's been around for a few years, but this is very similar, I should say, to a healthcare walk-in clinic that you would go to for any health care need. Walk-in clinics are taking appointments face-to-face or whether or not they're doing them virtually. But you can usually access a full session right away just by walking in. The sessions usually last anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes, a little bit more perhaps if needed. It can be on any topic. A lot of people will go in and talk a little bit about, of course, COVID and the pandemic and just how hard it is dealing with all of the changes that are coming at us so quickly, but also a little bit about family conflict, grief, stress, depression, anxiety. And within Ottawa Carleton, within Region 8, there's multiple agencies that are offering walk-in clinic sessions. So I would really encourage people, and I'll go into the next slide, just to look at some of the websites, just to see if this might be a good resource for you. The one great thing I find about the walk-in clinics is that if in session, you might discover that perhaps a one-time appointment might not be enough, that you might be looking for more ongoing services. Most of the walk-in clinics will refer you to community resources that provide that ongoing service. So it can kind of jumpstart the intake process as well. So as part of this here, the first slide, now this one here was geared to Toronto, but Family Services Ottawa Carleton also provides walk-in clinics. And so I would encourage anyone, you can Google Family Services Ottawa Carleton and you'll get their website and it'll provide you, actually Family Services has a wide range of services, not just mental health, but they're one of actually the community service providers that provide ongoing services. Now, a great resource for Ottawa is walkincounseling.com. They actually list all of the services within the Champlain-Lynn region that provide walk-in clinics. And they'll give you the days and the times of those clinics. It'll talk a little bit about the services that they provide at each organization and go a little bit more in depth about what that walk-in clinic can provide for you. So I'd really encourage everyone to just, if you think this might be a resource for you, to check out this website. Now, because Region 8 does have some rural communities, and keeping in mind that some of the more rural communities, I myself live outside of Ottawa, so I live more south of the city, and I am in a different healthcare or public health region, I might not be able to access the Ottawa walk-in clinics. So this website, eMental Health, is a great tool. It is province-wide, and actually they're attempting to build this actually across Canada, but this is supposed to be a one-stop shop for all the mental health resources in your community, and you can go in and search by your region. You can actually search by diagnosis, you can search by age group. This website has fact sheets, it has training for individuals, for the public, for professionals. It really has everything that your region has available for mental health, and it's constantly growing and building. So in my previous life as a mental health support and intake, this was a resource I would give to all of the families that I connected with. It's a great tool. And then the last resource we want to talk a little bit about, just because anyone else who has been a part of any of the talks that I've done know that we are huge advocates for self-care. RespiteServices.com is also a centralized single point of access for families and individuals to access respite services, just in recognition that we realize that a lot of our members are not only health heroes out in the community, they're taking care of family members and to take that break to do so. So Respite Services is a great resource. You can go in, you can, they connect workers with families and individuals. You can set up your own ad per se, talk a little bit about what it is that you're looking for, how many times a week, what the hours are, and they'll connect you with workers in your area who have been vetted to the sense of have provided police checks and have had their resumes looked over. But ultimately, through this particular website, you're just connecting with the worker, you get to interview them, you get to decide whether or not they're going to be a good fit for you and your family. So with that in mind, I'm just going to encourage everybody again, please take care of yourselves. Now more than any other time in healthcare, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to recharge our batteries. And I hope that in the course of building on that, if you check out a couple of these websites, that you might find some valuable information and hopefully a resource that you can count on in the future. And with that, I'm going to give it back to Joan.
Wow, thank you, Tina, so much. I want to remind everyone, no matter how busy or stressful things get, you need to take time for yourself and do what you need for your own mental health and wellness. I'm now going to pass things over to our SUI Healthcare President, Charlene Stewart, who I'm excited to have join us tonight. Charlene is here, and she's going to give you some important updates on what the union's been doing over the last few months and take us through the next. She's also here to answer any question you may have. So please put them in the chat and we'll get to them shortly. Thank you, Charlene. Charlene, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joan. I'm so happy to be here. Shout out and hello to everybody from Region 8. So nice to see you joining us on this beautiful evening. We really do appreciate any time that you can give us, and hopefully you're going to find the information that you receive from everybody tonight really helpful and important. Joan, thanks for sharing your story with us. That was amazing. Just shows people absolutely that education helps. Meetings like this help give you the confidence and the courage to take on the employer when they think that they can pass something over you. So good job, Joan. And it's also very exciting to be in a meeting and watching you chair it too. It's like watching these flowers just blooming. I think this is our last regional meeting, and every one of the executive board members have been just so beautifully perfect in their chairing. And I know it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but hey, again, just showing us another example of how you flourished as an amazing leader representing Region 8 out there, Joan. So really nice to be with you too. There's a lot of updates. You're going to hear it from the other presentations that you'll hear later on today. I'm just so happy that it looks like we're getting closer and closer. Every vaccine number that goes up, the more people who are getting vaccinated, the sooner we're going to be able to get together again. And I can't wait. It looks like maybe after we all get hopefully some respite over the summer holidays, that you'll get some vacation and we'll be able to come out of our houses a little bit, that in the fall we can get back together again. Maybe our next Region 8 meeting will be able to be in person, and I can't wait for that. So good things are happening. We seem to be on the other side of this pandemic, but like Tina said, it's time for us to take care of ourselves now, especially all of you who've been showing up every single day for us. The fight's been a long one, and you definitely do need some respite and so much more as we enter into bargaining and starting to meet your employers face to face again too. And of course, it's been quite a challenging week, which Christophe and Jackie will talk to you about later, with the folks at Queen's Park. It's just never a dull day with those folks. But let me assure you, every step that they take to block us from improving your lives and the lives of your family, we rally ourselves together, we huddle up, and we think, how can we break through these barriers that they keep putting in front of us? So I just want to thank you all again. Hopefully you've gotten our messages to show up at our rally on Saturday, which is 2 days away at 11 o'clock. Check the app, which you're going to hear amazing things about later too. So anyway, I'll stop there. I'll pass it back to our great chairperson, and I'm just so happy to be with all of you. And as Joan said, I'll be here to answer any questions along with my colleagues, Tyler Downey, your treasurer, and Mina Amrath, the executive vice president, are joining tonight too. Back to you, Joan.
Thank you so much, Charlene, for joining us and giving us those important updates. Before we move on, I want to take the first polling question of the night. So Charlene touched on some of the political work the unit has been doing, and I'm happy to introduce our next speaker, who will touch on some of,
Just we're gonna do that poll quickly.
sorry.
Joan, we're jumping in, yeah. So the poll question is, as a healthcare worker, what is the #1 area where you would like to see improvements? So we've got wages, health and safety, pension, retirement security, access to full-time jobs, / less precarious work, or other. So if you guys want to just start voting now, really curious to see what you guys have to say. Lots of them are coming in. Give it a couple more seconds. All right, any more to vote? Give it 10 more seconds. All right, that's great. So I'm going to end the polling now. And here are the results. And #1, very common that we get #1 is wages. A lot of you are saying more wages. So 8 of you are saying that, and we've got 2 for also more pension, retirement security, and 1 there for access to full-time jobs and / less precarious work. So yeah, we're hearing a lot of that from the other regions as well, that wages is very top priority. All right, thanks, Joan, back to you.
Okay. I can't get this off my screen. I can't get the polling off my screen.
There should be a little X in the top there. See that?
Oh yeah. So sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, Charlene touched on some of the political work our unit has been doing, and I'm happy to introduce our next speaker. We'll touch on some of the bills that the Ontario government passed and that's been keeping healthcare workers down. Chris Bear Oates is our SEIU Healthcare Deputy Chief and staff, and also been involved in our political work. Christophe, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joan, and good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you here, all great Region 8 members. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to the days I actually get to go out to Region 8. Hopefully, they'll be soon. Today, as Joan mentioned, I'm going to be talking about some of the important pieces of legislation the provincial government has actioned over the last couple of months to a year, and I'm happy to be joined by Jackie Haynes, who will be co-presenting with me. And Jackie is an internal organizer from our home community care sector, and has been a long-standing political activist, as I see a lot of familiar faces and names on here as well, that I know a lot of you have been involved in some of our political action campaign work. So the first one we're going to talk about is 254, Bill 254.
Respect Us, Bill 254, Protecting Ontario Elections Act. The new law passed in April of 2021. This increased the personal donations to political parties from $1,650 to $3,300.
That's right, Jackie. And I often use this example to kind of, showcase who this bill was really aimed to help, right? Very few working class people or healthcare workers or community care workers have $1,650 laying around to donate to a political party or a candidate. Let alone over $3,000, right? So the $1,650 was a figure that was determined a couple of years ago as this happy medium, making sure that people who want to donate can donate, but not to give unfair advantage to more affluent folks. And today I was watching actually a press conference that Doug Ford was holding, and he was asked about 254. And his response was that he wants to protect the elections from billionaires. That's what 254 is aimed to do, is to make sure that billionaires don't sway the election. Okay, well, if that's the case, Mr. Ford, then why are you doubling the personal donation limit, right? So it is just as a real good symbol, I think, of where 254 was aimed at, who it was really aimed at helping.
Exactly. This limits what SEIU can put into the public realm during the election.
And we have a couple of examples here on the right. So we've run a lot of public awareness and campaign ads regarding highlighting the important work our members do, showcasing some of the challenges that they face, both from a worker perspective and from a system perspective, and raising public awareness about what's going on in long-term care hospitals and home and community care, and pushing for change. And by doing these campaign ads, we're also putting more pressure on politicians, saying, hey, the public's aware about this now, you need to do something. And that's exactly what they want to stop. Yes. Is there anything else, Jackie, you want to add to that?
No, I just agree with you that, it just makes it very difficult for unions to stand up for the common worker.
Exactly. And that's exactly what 254 is trying to do, is trying to silence and put obstacles in the way of unions and also healthcare workers by extension on advocating for you, but telling your story in the public realm, especially over the pandemic, the incredible sacrifices all of you have made, the challenges you've experienced. They don't want us talking about that in the public realm because they're afraid of what that will result in the next election.
Absolutely. So if everyone would like to put in the chat why they think the Ford government is limiting free speech. If anybody has anything they'd like to say.
And maybe while folks are doing that, the other thing I think it's important to realize is 254 extended what's called the campaign period. Usually it's 28 days. 28 days before the election, all these restrictions kick in about advertising and conduct and who can, all these election rules kick in 28 days. Previous governments extended that to 6 months. Now 254 extended that to a year, to a whole year before the election, right? And again, that's to make sure that people don't have the runway. Organizations, not just unions, but organizations like the Autism Coalition, for example, that's trying to advocate for more support for autism. All of these organizations are not able to, or have very limited ability to talk in the public space because the government fears that what they're going to say is going to hurt them politically. So what are our amazing members saying?
They know that, sorry, it kind of just moved up on me. They know that healthcare workers are super upset at how they've handled the pandemic. He doesn't want bad press against himself.
That's right.
Fear and security, does not like the truth staring at him in the face.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's trying to make sure he doesn't lose.
Yeah, that's the key there. That's definitely the key. So your union, along with under the leadership of our officers, joined with others who also felt that this bill was unfair. It was an attack on democracy, and there was a court case that was launched against 254 saying that it's unconstitutional. So I think 2 weeks is the last week. The weeks are kind of melting into each other, but I think last week the Superior Court of Ontario released their ruling, and their ruling was clear. Their ruling was that Bill 254 is an attack on the Constitution, is an attack on democracy, and is unconstitutional because it unfairly infringes on Section 2A of the Constitution, the Charter of Rights, which it talks about the freedom of speech. So it was an attack on the freedom of speech. So there was a moment of celebration, but not too long of a moment, because within 24 hours, the Ford government came out and said, we are recalling the legislature. We're pulling back all of the MPPs from summer break. And believe it or not, they're already on summer break. While your vacations are being canceled, most of the politicians have gone their summer break. Fair to say they're back in their constituency supposed to be doing constituency work, but I know most of our members have had their vacations canceled. And he didn't recall the legislature to extend pandemic pay, or to expand pandemic pay, or to make it permanent, or to revoke Bill 124, the 1% cap that Jackie's going to be talking about, or ensuring that there's increased funding or staffing within the hospital, long-term care, community care sector. He recalled the legislature to invoke the notwithstanding clause, which is a part of the Constitution that says that provinces can basically use this on seldom occasions under certain conditions. It's only good for 5 years. And what the notwithstanding clause says is that Doug Ford and his government say that this bill is unconstitutional. It is an infringement of people's rights under the Constitution. We don't care. We're going to say it's notwithstanding the Charter of Rights, and it'll become law. So I think it's now Bill 304 because they had to repass it under the new notwithstanding clause.
Just a quick question, Christophe, was that the first time that that's ever been done?
It's the first time in Ontario that the notwithstanding clause. It's been used, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times. Quebec used it over French language rights. I think Alberta used it around same-sex marriage, and I think it was Saskatchewan that also used it regarding labor disputes as well. But it's only been used 4 or 5 times in Canadian history. It's been contemplated or threatened far more, but first time in Ontario it's been used.
Yeah. Protect Us, Bill 175, Connecting People to Home and Community Care Act, 2020. So Bill 175 overhauls the home care system, weakening oversight and increases privatization, no input from healthcare workers at all.
And I know I see the names. I know there's a lot of home care workers on here, and this bill has a significant impact on the home care sector. What I kind of characterize it is trying to look at the failed for-profit long-term care system and bringing that model into home care, right? So this bill, the government's very well aware of what's going on in home care, all of the challenges, all of the challenging working conditions that all of you experience in the home care sector, the needs, the unmet needs of clients. And their response to that is, let's privatize and let's weaken oversight, right? That's how they've reacted to some of these challenges. Bill 175 does that. And again, no input from workers, no input from clients, no input from people who experience home care on a daily basis. They closed the door, passed this, and rammed it through as usual.
Mm-hmm. Bill 195, Reopening Ontario Act, 2020. Bill 195 gave employers the ability to override provisions of the collective agreement in response to the pandemic.
That's right. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced some of those emergency orders that were issued under Bill 195. And Bill 195 does some good things. Obviously, it's in response to the pandemic, but we know the government and employers have abused some of the powers under Bill 195. If you've had your vacation canceled, if you've been redeployed, if your schedule has changed, if there's been a change in your working conditions as a result of the pandemic, those things happened under the authority of Bill 195 gave to employers. And the other side of the Bill 195 and the emergency orders is that unions under certain on scheduling languages, on vacation denials, on the work of the bargaining unit, we cannot file grievances until these emergency orders expire, which we hope will happen sometime in July. They can't keep kicking the can down the road forever. Mm-hmm. And when they do expire, then we'll be taking action if the employers don't go back to their pre-COVID operations.
Yeah, these are some of the calls that I've been getting a lot lately, is about the fact that our members are feeling like they're not, they're being pushed around, things being revoked. So it's a good chance for us to band together and do something about it.
Absolutely. Well said, Jackie. Thank you.
Bill 195 and Bill 175, do not protect the rights of healthcare workers and community care workers. PAYUS, Bill 124, Protecting a Sustainable Public Sector for Future Generations Act 2019. This legislation caps total compensation at 1% per year for 3 years. So I know this has hit a lot of hot buttons with our members, with everybody out there, in regards to the fact that we're only allowed to get a 1% increase in bargaining. So bargaining lately has been a challenge. The legislation impacts hospitals, school boards, long-term care homes, and home and community care. Just another thing I'd like to say about this too is it just doesn't impact the amount of money we can bargain, but this is about vacation, benefits, anything that is money that the employer has to pay out. So just to keep that in mind in bargaining this year. Some MPPs, firefighters, and police officers got raises before the legislation was even passed. So our healthcare workers had to wait, and quite a few of these people got a significant raise before healthcare workers and community care workers working in the community to fight COVID. Bill 124 ensures healthcare workers aren't paid what they deserve.
Thank you.
Did you want to add anything to that, Christoph?
No, I think you covered it very well. I mean, I think the only thing I would add too is there's a constitutional challenge on Bill 124 as well that the labor movement is taking forward. So hopefully once it gets to the Supreme Court of Canada, it will also be ruled unconstitutional. We'll see what the Ford government, if they're in power still, and that's the key there, does regarding Bill 124. But again, it's a very clear attempt at trying to balance the books on the back of healthcare workers, and community care and home care workers as well. So there's a number of things that we talked about this evening about 254, how it stifles and tries to muzzle healthcare workers from, raising up their voices during the election. 175 and 195 again. No thought about the impact of those legislations on frontline workers. They have their agenda. And listen, this is not an anti-conservative thing. If this was the Liberals or the NDP or the Greens doing the same thing, we would be here with the same message, right? Our priority is the Purple Party, is our members, right? The experiences that you have, the conditions that you work under, and the government's there to help you. It's supposed to be there to help you. It's to improve things, not to make things worse. And all of these three pieces of legislation, and there's far more to talk about too, take the voices and the experiences and the needs of healthcare workers as not a priority. I mean, it is crystal clear. No matter what they say on TV, their actions speak louder. And the thing that gets me the most all the time is when they want to act fast, when they want something to do that's in their favor, they act very fast. Bill 254 became law in 2.5 months. So the moment that they got the idea and introduced it in the legislature to the point it got royal assent and became law was 2.5 months. Right? How long did it take to get pandemic pay? How long did it take to actually get the pandemic pay out? And I know still some members have not received that pandemic pay from October.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it's in their interest, they get it done like that, right? Which is, I think, extremely frustrating and disappointing thing to know.
Yeah. So when we know what's happening at Queen's Park, when we speak up about our experiences and advocate for change, when we participate in the political process by sending emails, calling, and meeting with our local politicians, when we vote for candidates that support healthcare workers, when we encourage others to vote and support healthcare and community care workers, when we hold politicians accountable to their commitments, we can and we will win.
Thank you, Jackie, and thank you everybody for your attention. Thank you for everything you do. Please stay safe. And Joan, back to you.
Thank you, Christoph and Jackie. You explained those bills really put the pressure on all of us to push back and fight for them to repeal. I know SEIU Healthcare has really led the fight. and has worked closely with other unions. So let's hope we get the victory soon. I'm now excited to introduce Jackie, who will be taking us through some very unique SCI Healthcare Nursing Division President. Jackie?
Hi, Joan. Thanks so much for passing me the mic. Good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here in Region 8. I just wanted to share some information about the nursing division. I got to first start by saying that as your nursing division president, I work with the most amazing group of nurses who are members of our union who are so committed to the work. In fact, so committed to the work. Tonight, your Region 8 representative from the nursing board, Geeta, who works at Longfield Manor, she's at work tonight, so she tapped me to fill in for her, but she did send a message for you and her regrets. But her message was, stay connected, stay united, and keep advocating for safe work and for your rights. So that is from Geeta. So what Geeta would have shared with you is what I'm going to share right now. We are really proud as SEIU Healthcare to have a nursing division. And did you know that we're the only service union in Ontario, maybe even Canada, to have a nursing division? So our nursing division keeps nurses updated on their unique professional standards. They're set up by the College of Nurses. And we spend a lot of our time and energy advocating for changes to the scope of practice in our profession, advocating for the acknowledgement of who's doing what within the scope. We've spent a lot of time and energy advocating for PPE and health and safety standards to be driven up, not driven down, and to really address the shortages that every sector of healthcare has been facing. So we're trying to make sure that those issues are addressed, and so much more. The pandemic has been incredibly challenging for nurses and for all healthcare workers, but you already know that, right? Know that your nursing division has your back, and we are asking nurses to share their stories. So if you haven't heard yet, we're asking all RNs and all RPNs to upload their stories about how the pandemic has personally affected you. And whether you're fighting for respect, for better protection, or better pay, we want to hear about it. Your story has so much power to connect you with our communities, but to also educate these decision makers, these people in government who sometimes want to pretend they don't know what's going on, or sometimes really don't know what's going on. That's why your story is so important. So Emily is going to put the link in the chat where you can upload your story and share your vision of a better future. So recently, SEIU Healthcare joined with CUPE to attack and do some really important work around bargaining for the Central Hospital members. So together, 70,000 members strong, we're going to be bargaining with the Ontario Hospital Association. Before we did that, both unions did some surveying. So I want to share with you, if you're not an RN or RPN, a nurse practitioner, I want to share with you what the RPNs, how they've been feeling. So 93% of RPNs reported experiencing mental and physical exhaustion. Can I get like a thumbs up if that's been you too? I don't think that's like, only RPNs, but we have a lot of the same struggles. 66% of RPNs reported witnessing another coworker experiencing violence at work, which is way too high. And 1 in 3 RPNs reported not being paid for isolation, which isolation related to COVID-19, which I think is more than just RPNs. That's like across the board, right? So our struggles have definitely been the same. But I want to let you know that we are doing whatever we can to get those facts out there, because not everybody knows that. So during Nursing Week, our president, Charlene Stewart, myself, and some really brave RPNs from the nursing board did some press conferences to share those findings and to make sure that the voice of healthcare workers was amplified, and to let the public know that workers are not okay and that we deserve more and better. So we started our work on the Thursday before Nursing Week. And by Monday, we saw a really, a glimmer of hope. By Monday, the government announced that they were going to accelerate healthcare workers like yourself getting your second vaccine. So they hadn't had a plan put together, but they had committed to doing that. So it just goes to show, if we make enough noise, if we tell enough people about what's going on in our workplaces, in our experiences, that we can see change. Because like someone said in the comments, Doug Ford doesn't want the truth to be out there, but your truth can be out there. So please check out our website where you can share your story. Also on our website, we have a take action piece. So if you know an RPN or an RN who got a lot to say and is really ticked off about Bill 124, you can send them to sciunurses.ca and tell them to click on take action. There, they'll be directed to call Doug Ford and leave him a message and let them know, what's going on. So we got a script there, so it's really easy. It's set up for you, but the nurses and anybody can really personalize that for themselves. On our website, we also have really important resources like a guide to redeployment, a guide to working with unregulated healthcare providers, because we know at the beginning of the pandemic, at least in long-term care, you could hire anybody off the streets and say, you're going to be a PSW now. And so we made these guides to make sure that nurses were able to protect their license. There's also a really inspiring piece on our website. During Nursing Week this year, we asked the public to share a story about a nurse that they've been touched by or they've been cared for by. So it's got some really encouraging stories. I know I check it out when I'm feeling a little bit down, feeling like nobody's actually paying attention to the incredible work that you're all doing, but they do, and they are. And so if you check out that page under Nurses, our Nurses Unite campaign by going to our main website, you'll be able to read some of those stories. So thank you so much for hearing me tonight. Thank you for all you do. Stay safe, and I'll hand it back over to you, Ms. Joan Beverly.
Thank you, Jackie. Wow, topics like workplace safety and WSIB never been more important, and it's been the last 18 months. And I think it's safe to say will continue to be topics on everyone's mind moving forward. So I'm happy to introduce our next presenter, Brenda Snyder, who works in the SIU Healthcare WSIB department. Brenda, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Joan, for inviting me, and thank you, Region 8. I'm just going to share my screen here. And can everyone see it? Okay. Okay, so I wanted to talk about health and safety and your rights to know, and WSIB injury or information should an injury or an occupational illness occur. And I have found when speaking to members that not everyone is aware of their rights. So tonight is just a brief overview of important points for everyone to remember. So who are your Joint Health and Safety Committee members? You can find their names on your Health and Safety Board. Now, there are some workplaces that have a number of health and safety boards, so take a look on them. You'll find on some of them that they'll have their pictures of them and their names so that you'll be able to recognize them and what unit they work within your workplace, so you can look them up. You can also find them on your union bulletin boards in the committees that are within your workplace as well. Look up your SEIU committee members. That's the committee that makes a difference in your health and safety in your workplace. Get to know them and ask them how you can make a difference in your workplace in health and safety. You know, a well-informed committee is a knowledgeable and a powerful committee. And with your help, you can really make a difference in your workplace. You have 3 basic rights. The right to refuse dangerous work and know that you are protected from a reprisal. We also have a right to refuse guidance tool on our website that you could use, and I encourage you to look it up because it will help you if you feel that anything that may bring you harm, you may be able to use the right to refuse option. The next right that you have is a right to know about workplace hazards and access to basic health and safety information. When was the last time you had any WHMIS training to know what products are being used within your workplace? You have a right to know that information. That's in your workplace. Also, you have the right to participate in health and safety discussions and health and safety committees, and just what I spoke about briefly. And also any other committees that are from the health and safety, joint health and safety committees. You have a right to be on any of the committees within your workplace in discussion with your steward body as well. These rights are legislated rights, and also they were fought hard by unions in labor. So I encourage you to take part in your rights in your workplace. And also, if you have a health and safety issue or concern, you first take it to your manager or your supervisor and have a discussion with them. You discuss the issue and the concern to see if you can resolve it in some way. It may be an easy resolve. If not, and they need more time to go higher up in management, then ask for a timeline. What is the date that they'll get back to you by? If they don't get back to you, or they get back to you with a different date, but it keeps extending, don't let it extend too far. One time is more than enough. You can put in a workplace health and safety complaint form. These complaint forms should usually be by your health and safety board. If they're not, talk to your joint health and safety committee member. But ask where these forms are and fill them out if there's an issue. Contact your joint health and safety committee member also to let them know that you have had an issue that hasn't been resolved, or even if you had an issue and how it was resolved. Not all employers inform their joint health and safety committee members of what is happening within the workplace. And again, as I said, get to know them, talk to them about any issues and concerns. I also want to talk to you about should an injury or an occupational disease occur. Report it to the employer as soon as possible. Seek medical treatment immediately or as soon as possible. Do not delay in seeking treatment. These 2 points alone could have your claim either delayed or it could be denied by WSIB. Even a couple of days we have had claims denied, and it takes time to resolve them. So make sure that you seek treatment right away and report. Even if you have just like a feeling that it may be a sprain, it'll go away in a few days or whatever, you should really seek treatment for it. Ensure a workplace incident report is filled out. You're entitled to a copy of it. You sign it. I encourage you to get a copy. Employers have been known to misplace or they disappear. It's also been known and found that they change the incident reports afterwards. So I encourage you to have a copy of that. And the employer is legally obligated to send a Form 7 to the WSIB should you seek medical treatment or your work duties have been modified or accommodated for a few days. You're entitled to a complete copy of that Form 7 as well. And by meaning a complete copy, any comments that the employer is making that they're including in to give to WSIB, you're also entitled to that copy, and ask them, did you make any comments to WSIB? I'm entitled to those comments. And ensure your joint health and safety committee member is copied in on your incident report or the Form 7. The employer is to provide these notices to the Joint Health and Safety Committee, but we know they're not doing that in every workplace. So ensure that that is done so the Joint Health and Safety Committee member can see if there's a gap somewhere in your safety, if there's something that's going on within your unit or a workplace that it's happening with more than one person, so that they can have a really wholesome discussion within the workplace about that. And I also want to thank you tonight. And we talked about how you resolve some issues within your workplace, Joan. And that's how you resolve your health and safety issues too, is by educating everybody about what I've brought forward to you tonight, of their rights, getting involved in your workplace. It takes a village, right? It takes a village. Your workplace is your village, and it takes every one of you to make sure that all of you go home healthy and safe to your families. And I thank you, Joan. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for that important information. Now to deliver some more important information, I want to introduce Emily from our SEIU Healthcare Communication team, who's going to talk to you about a brand new SEIU Healthcare mobile app. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thanks so much, Joan. I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight and to talk to you guys about something that we are absolutely thrilled about in the communications team. So for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Emily Innes LaRue, and I'm the brand journalist with the communications team. And so I'm hoping you guys have all downloaded the new SEIU mobile app. But if you haven't, by the end of this talk, you will definitely want to get it. I'm certain of that. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the first month's been like, and then walk you through how to download it. So right now we have already had more than 6,000 downloads of our app. So we are incredibly excited about this because we kind of expected to get around, our goal was around 2,000 in the first month. So the fact that we have gotten well over that, we are absolutely thrilled about. We're really excited that so many members are downloading it and that we're hearing such good feedback. By the numbers, there's 61% have been Apple downloads and 39% have been Android. And we get asked if there's a difference between the two, and there isn't. The updates occur with both of them, so it's just seeing where they're coming from. And an important number there is 420 stewards have downloaded it. And why I'm highlighting this number is that this tool is going to be really important to get stewards engaged, to be able to then tell members about things. So we really want that to be a higher number. So if you're a steward on this call tonight, make sure you're downloading the app, because it's a really great way for you to get all our information coming from the union. And if you know your steward doesn't have it yet in your union, just please let them know to download it, and we can get that number up. It's really important to be focusing on increasing that number. And we're really excited that we've had so many downloads, but of course we want to keep downloading that, getting that higher. You know, there's 60,000 members, so we really want to keep pushing it, because we know this is going to be the way to really connect us all. We know it's the way, instead of having, you know, so many different platforms, from email to text and the web and Facebook and Instagram, which is great to have all those platforms, but it's just so many places to look and find information. And if it's just getting push notifications right to your phone, right into the app, you can come in, pull it up, and it just makes it so much easier to engage with everybody. So we just really want to encourage everybody to be downloading it and really getting the mobile app in use. And so here's some other numbers for you. So we've already had 7,000 article shares, which is really cool. What that means is that on the app, you can press a button to say share to other people. You can share the articles and the news that we're posting. And what's happening is it is being shared. We know that this information is connecting with you. And from comms perspective, you know, we're always putting this information out there, but we don't always know what people are engaging with. We don't always know, you know, if this is news that is worthy to you. Is this something that you want to hear? But now that we know, we can see that you guys are sharing it. So we know that this is something that you guys are really enjoying, and it's something that, you know, the news is important, and you're learning more about your union, you're learning about politics, and you're learning about what's going on in your community. So we're really happy that there is a lot of article sharing happening. And another really interesting number is that 45% of all of our now member service center requests are coming from the live chat. So instead of calling in, we have this amazing feature now on the app where you can live chat with your member service center. So you can get in right there and you can say, hey, I have a question, and somebody will answer you. Or if you can't chat right then and you want to call back, you can put that in as well. You can request a callback time, and you get that when you're ready for it. And, you know, you used to have to call and, you know, get online and wait times. And, this is the much more modern way. This is how a lot of people are engaging with all sorts of, your cell phone company or anything you want online. People are getting on there and they're just chatting. And, especially now with being, so much more mobile these days with Zoom and everything, this is what people are doing. And it's clear to us that it is working, and almost half of the requests are happening that way. So this is really cool for us to see that this is how people are connecting with their member service center, and that they're really engaging and getting on there. So we've got amazing feedback about that feature. So some of the other favorite features that we've heard that people really are loving is the collective agreements being right there on your mobile app. This was the #1 request that people wanted, and this is what we've offered, and that it's searchable. Before on your, on your computer, it would be really hard to find certain things that you wanted. Now, when you pull it up on your phone and your mobile app, it's right there. You can quickly say, oh, how many vacation days do I have? And quickly search vacation, and boom, you've got that answer. So that is a feature that people are loving, and it makes it way easier to look up information. Especially, we're hearing that the stewards are loving it to be able to answer questions, that they can pull up the agreement a lot quicker and get those answers. Again, as I've already talked about, the live chat is an awesome feature, and people are loving that. And news alerts. So this is a great way. As I said, people are sharing these and people are getting them quickly on your phone. If you have it turn on your notifications, you can easily get a little alert saying that we've posted something new. And so you can learn about the new actions and bargaining. You can find out what's going on politically. We just posted a petition yesterday that now you can go and sign that petition right on your phone. To say, I shared that in the link just earlier to say that, Doug Ford can't silence us. We don't want Bill 307, which is the new 254. So that's right in there now. And, you can also choose by subjects what you want to see and what you don't. So you can post this thing that says, I want to see more of that, or I want to see less of that. Hopefully you choose to see more of it. That's, our preference, but it's all there, but you get to tailor it to what you like to see more of. So if you don't want to see as much, if you're PSW, you don't want to see as much nursing or vice versa, you can have it minimized. And events. So what's great about the events is that they're personalized to your region. So before it was open, but we're just making the new change where we can personalize, tailor this. So before you would have gotten all region meetings for this regional meeting, but now it's going to be sectioned off. So we can say specifically Region 8, this meeting's for you. And so people can get specifically what they want in their area. And, it's not going to be hidden. You can also see all the other events that are happening. If you decide you want to do a long travel, that option is there, but we want it to be more specific to you. And then you can also go and add it right to your calendar so that you get alerted to it. So that's another great feature there. So just walking through the download really quickly. If you go into either of your Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, you look for the SEIU, the purple logo, and then you click Get, and then it'll download to your phone. And then in terms of the registration process, it's really easy as well. You just need to go sign up, or if you already have a MemberLink account, that is the already have an account option. So that's the same. If you already have that MemberLink, you already have one, so use that. And then you're going to say, hopefully all of you tonight are SEIU healthcare members. So you go yes, and then you're going to go into the member ID. If you should have been receiving emails or texts with your member ID lately with the app information, but if you don't have it, you can click skip for now, and then you can go in and just complete the registration. And then you can ask your member service center right in the app for your member ID. They can give it to you, or you can call and they can provide that to you as well. But you can always go in and add it later. It's no problem. And then there's also a referral code that you can put in there. So with anything, with the download of an app, I mean, there's always going to be new and exciting changes, and we always want to make it better. This is just the first round, and it's going to get so much better. We have so many plans for the future. There's so many things we're going to do, but there are some things that we knew are a bit of a problem. The collective agreements, some of them disappeared after our launch, but we fixed that. They should about 99%. They pretty much should all be there at this point. If you still don't see yours, you just need to go back to your app store and launch to be able to do the new version. You just have to make sure to download the new version. So you always have to keep going in there to refresh it. There's going to be some new ones, just like any other app on your phone. And some of the other things, collective agreements for stewards with multiple units not all available. Grievances are not all showing up. And a new update on June 4th includes ability to target events regionally. As I discussed, then you don't have to see all 8 sectors. You're gonna be able to see the specific ones, and soon we'll be coming for nursing as well, and PSW, and different groups are gonna be targeted so that you're gonna see the things that matter to you. And as I said, there's gonna be new updates to follow every 2 or 3 weeks. So just be on top of that, just be downloading them. We'll notify you now and then, but just make sure you go in so you get the best version, all the new things that are gonna be coming. So that's all I have, and I really hope you go and download it. And thanks so much and for your time. And I'm going to pass it back to you, Joan.
Now you didn't leave anything for me to say. Thank you so much, Emily. I personally have used the mobile app, and it is a game changer. And I've accessed my union news. I've used the live chat. I have made a quick call back to the MSC. I've viewed my collective agreement. This is really a game changer. It will connect you to your union like never before. And if you haven't had it yet, guys, please go and download it as soon as possible. Before we move on to our next question, I have a few more polling questions I want to ask. And then we have some giveaways. So our first polling question is, have you downloaded the SEIU Healthcare mobile app yet?
So we've got that question 1, if you've downloaded the app yet, and then question 2, have you gotten the COVID-19 vaccine? So if you guys can start answering now. Looks like it might have stopped. I'm going to try relaunching it.
Are they finished?
I'm going to try that again.
Okay.
Here we go, getting the answer and coming through now. Give a couple more seconds. Anybody else want to take the poll? All right, looks like people have stopped answering. So we've got here the results. We've got a lot of people have downloaded the app. I'm very excited to hear that, to see a no, which I'm hoping that I've changed your mind and you're going to go do that. And in terms of gotten the vaccine, we have some with the 1 dose and quite a few with fully vaccinated. So that's great to see. And a few that are not planning on getting vaccinated. So those are our polling results. I will pass it back to you, Joan.
Okay. Thank you for providing your answers. Now it's time for a giveaway. It's a 75 President Choice gift card. This will be given to the first person to answer the following question correctly in the chat. Name the 2 bills the Ontario government have introduced have held the healthcare workers down.
So it's the first person to answer. A $75 gift card up for grabs, guys.
Maybe read the question again.
Okay. Name the 2 bills the Ontario government have introduced to have held healthcare workers down.
What are 2 bills? Oh, we got 1 from Pam. Can you get a second one? Oh, close. Yep, Bill 124 is correct. What's that second one?
Hey,
Oh,
Merced.
Oh, Merced.
Merced.
There we go. 124 and 195. Well done, Merced.
Okay. So Merced's the winner? from Longfields Manor. I know we've thrown a lot of important information at you tonight. So now we'll take any question you have. You can put them in the chat or raise your hand on Zoom. We'll call you. We will call on you when it's your turn in the Q&A section.
Haven't seen any questions come in yet. Anybody have any questions this evening? I think we covered everything so well, so we got no questions, but you can always give us a shout if you guys have any questions. So I think you can carry on, Joan.
Okay, unfortunately, we ran out of time for this event. I want to thank everyone for attending tonight. It's been great seeing you all, and I look forward to seeing you in your next regional meeting. This will be in the fall. We're putting a feedback survey in the chat, and we would also going to email along a copy with the meeting tonight. So please fill it out so we can see what you like for the next meeting. I also want to remind everyone following us on Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, you can find us on SEIU Healthcare Canada, while on Instagram, you can find us at SEIU Healthcare. You should also check out our website at www.seiuhealthcare.ca often to find the latest news, incentive, and COVID-19 resources. This website and our resources are up to date daily. So don't forget to check out the new mobile app, as well as our online members portable and e-learning platform. If we didn't get to your question tonight, or you have any new question that pops up, you can contact your member service center at 1-877-672-7348, Monday to Friday from 8:30 to 4:30, and someone will be happy to help you. You can also access the MAC through the SEIU Healthcare mobile app. Thanks again for joining me tonight. Keep an eye on your email for the dates and time of our next meeting. I look forward to seeing you in the next meeting. Have a great evening, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.